Would it be a mistake for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to part ways?
No. Listen, Tom Brady kneecapped Bill Belichick on the way out the door if, in fact, he's leaving. And the reason he did that was to prepare for this moment. Because Belichick don't play games. He's not going to overpay you. And Tom Brady knew that. They kept kicking the can down the road with him in terms of reworking the contract so he could be the GOAT, like in exchange for giving up that money. He's the greatest of all time, right? Because they put a winning team around him and all that stuff. And when he was no longer good enough to even justify that money, Belichick wanted to move on. By the way, the guy he wanted to move on for is playing in the Super Bowl right now. On a team not that dissimilar to the Patriots. They have more offensive weapons, sure, but they were built kind of similar ideas in mind. And, so Brady had to start planning. What am I going to do next? Because to sell that TB12, he's got to be 45 years old, right? Like, I can play till I'm 45. I've discovered the fountain of youth with the snake oil salesman he's partnered with, right? And so he needs to keep playing, and Belichick's not going to pay him. He did an end around with Robert Kraft, got Jimmy G, shipped out of town. Now the cupboard's bare. So this has all been leading to this moment because the question's always been, who is it more? It's a great combination. Who is it more, Belichick or Brady? The answer has always clearly been Belichick. They're both the greatest of all time, but who's more responsible for the Patriots' success? The GM and coach, Bill Belichick. Football is a coach's league, really. Basketball is a player's league. Baseball is a general manager's league. Those are the positions with the most influence. It's Belichick. Now they want to prove it. Brady wants to go elsewhere to show it's him and to sell his TB12 stuff. And Belichick, I'm sure, with guys with egos that big, wants to prove, no, it's me. My prediction is where Brady goes, he will not have as much success as the Patriots have without him. But should they part ways at this point? Yes, unless Brady wants to get paid according to his actual ability right now, which apparently he doesn't.
I actually think they shouldn't part ways. Let me be very, very clear about that. I don't believe that. I just think that if you're going to do it, there are situations like Tennessee, for example, that I would like to see him in. Although Ryan Tannehill had an exceptional year, and if you're Tennessee and you're moving forward and thinking about the future, that's obviously in your best interest to keep him. Having said all of that, here's where I'm at with Tom Brady. I don't blame Tom Brady for what happened this year. I think that too many people look at him, Max included, and they talk about the regression that has taken place or whatever. I would like to remind you that Julian Edelman is a slot receiver. He was playing outside as wide out, not in the slot, pretty much most of the year. He was your leading receiver. You know who their second leading receiver was? James White. Antonio Brown lasted about a minute. Josh Gordon obviously didn't last long. They ended up letting him go. He goes to Seattle, and predictably, he ended up out of the league again. Okay, another relapse. We got everywhere you turn, he's had so much help. You've got Lacassie. He's a relatively young player. You've got, not Jacoby and Myers, the law firm, Jacoby Myers. That's what you had. He's a rookie. Okay, he didn't have anything to rely upon.
They whiffed on their draft pick.
And so for me, when I look at the New England Patriots, what I am saying is this 42-year-old quarterback who's clearly beyond his prime, that's what you gave him to work with. Let me say, listen, look at the plethora of teams around the National Football League and tell me what Tom Brady would have done with them if he had weapons. I understand that he's not the Tom Brady of old, but to me, this past season was not his fault. You give him some requisite weapons, even in New England's system. Give him some weapons to throw the football to. The brother still threw for 4,000 yards. It wasn't impressive. Only completed 60% of his passes, but had 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Had a top 10 offense in yards and had the top 10 passing attack. What's the problem? This brother right here, if you gave him some help, you would see a better version of Tom Brady. And that is why I believe that New England, and when I say he should stay with New England, I'm assuming that New England's going to get him some talent. Because I don't believe last year was Tom Brady's fault.
Look, when I said he was going to fall off the cliff, and I said he was going to be a bum in short order, remember that? And then the next day I came out and apologized. That's not what I meant even. Not only do I not like the name
Well, you didn't want to say the word bum.
No, but not only that, but I also said what I meant was he's only going to be like, it's called JAG, just a guy. He's not going to be a great player anymore. He's just a guy. I don't want to suggest that he's Eli Manning or Phillip Rivers, who Eli Manning retired. Phillip Rivers, in my view, is no longer a starting caliber quarterback. Tom Brady is still a starting caliber quarterback, but that's what he is. He's a starting caliber quarterback. You need a lot around him to win.
You say that, but I'm saying to you, I don't think that he's had enough to work with to indict him like that. if this dude, and I'm not saying you need Gronk along with Antonio Brown, an all-world tight end, all-world receiver, but you got to give him your second leading receiver can't be your running back.
Even last year, and they won the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Even last year, by the way, Peyton won the Super Bowl as the remains of himself. Brady was so much different, yards per attempt, everything down the line. When you look at the underlying numbers that tell you not just like touchdowns to interceptions, but the underlying stuff was all deteriorating rapidly. And this year was worse than last year. So what I'm saying is last year they won with defense, a lowest scoring Super Bowl in history. You need more around Brady now, not less. And Brady wants more money, so you have fewer resources.
Again, we're not getting into the money. We understand that, Max. The point is, right, we get the fact that, all right, monetarily it's got to work. We got it. What I'm talking about is from a talent perspective, the only reliable weapons he had was James White and Julian Edelman. There was no one else there that he knew.
Yep.
I mean, it's possible that, we didn't develop any chemistry. We didn't throw the football enough with one another. We didn't get it enough practice time, etc.
Let me ask you this. Since 2 years ago, he's already in decline, and last year he was also in decline. Do you expect next year for him to be better or worse? Because I expect
him to be better.
No, okay, I would expect him to be worse, and that might be offset if you get him weapons. But at a certain point, you need so much to get over the top.
Why better?
Excuse me?
Why better?
Because I'm anticipating that New England will recognize how bereft of weapons they were last year, and you'll get him better personnel to play with, and as a result, he'll look better. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.